Today, the average life expectancy of a car battery is about 4 years. A few years ago, the outlook was more optimistic. It was assumed that a battery should last around 5 years in a car primarily driven in urban settings. If the car was regularly driven on highways, the battery life wasn't really constrained. In such cases, batteries often lasted around 8 years without issues or the need for recharging. What has changed then, leading us to replace our car batteries more frequently? There are a few reasons for that. Firstly, manufacturers adhere to a simple truth. If they make higher quality products, people will buy them less frequently, because the batteries will last longer and won't need replacing as often. This approach doesn't suit manufacturers, and we observe that new types of batteries like AGM or EFB generally have a shorter lifespan than the old simple batteries with liquid electrolyte and lead plates. Secondly, most modern cars are initially set up to drain the battery faster. It's not just the start-stop system, which certainly doesn't extend your car battery's life, but also anti-theft protection features, lighting systems that all turn on as soon as you touch the key fob in your pocket. Moreover, contemporary cars can draw energy from the battery while moving, whereas in the past all the energy was exclusively generated by the alternator. There is another intriguing factor to consider. An AGM battery will work perfectly almost up until its end of life. The old type regular battery gradually decreases its voltage as it discharges. If the network voltage drops below 12 volts, you will notice it by the slow cranking of the starter and flickering lights in the cabin. GAL or AGM batteries, on the other hand, maintain a voltage of 12.5 volts right until they drop. This means you won't notice the usual signs of an impending battery death. As a result, you might deeply discharge the battery without recognizing any warning signs of upcoming issues. Also, you won't be able to timely recharge or service the battery. Oh, and new types of batteries can't be serviced since their plastic bodies are sealed. So you should understand that when trying to extend the life of your battery, there are certain limitations. However, it's still possible to delay the moment of purchasing a rather expensive new battery. By the way, a typical lead-acid battery costs around $100 on average. In contrast, an AGM or EFB battery will cost about $200 to $300 depending on the size and brand chosen. Therefore, there is a good reason to learn how to maintain your battery and prolong its life. So the first recommendation is to use the start-stop system wisely. Overall, this start-stop system was invented by manufacturers to reduce emissions. Many drivers mistakenly believe that it helps save fuel. There is indeed some fuel saving, but it's minimal. Honestly, even the impact on emissions is not very clear. One thing is certain, with frequent use of the start-stop system and regular city driving, your battery will last about 3 years. Also, such cars typically use the more expensive AGM type batteries unless they have a mild hybrid system with a separate battery pack for the start-stop function. Therefore, my advice is to disable the start-stop system or at least periodically turn it off to allow the battery to charge properly during city drives. Please don't tell EPA that I'm telling you this. For instance, drive 2 days a week with the start-stop system deactivated to let the charging system replenish the battery's losses. Secondly, consider adjusting your car's lighting settings. Any illumination that stays on after the engine is off is powered by the battery. If it's just for a couple of minutes daily, there is no harm. However, if you're making numerous short trips or frequently getting in and out of the car, the cumulative lighting time can be significant. You can tweak settings like the Follow Me Home feature, disable the automatic headlight activation when you use your key fob, and minimize any other lighting elements that activate before the engine starts or after it's off. Explore your car's settings to see what you can turn off without sacrificing the comfort and convenience of your vehicle. You can disable the automatic headlight mode. This feature turns on the headlights in many car models even before the engine starts and is another significant drain on the battery. The third key way to extend battery life is proper use of your infotainment system. Ensure that the screen and all its functions shut down when you turn off the engine. Listen to music or use the screen for other functions only when the engine is running and the power is supplied by the alternator. Additionally, it's wise to invest in a charger suitable for your type of battery. Periodically charge the battery to replenish energy losses back to 100%. This should be done about once a year. If your battery needs recharging more frequently, there could be issues with your car's charging system, or the battery itself might need replacing. Another method to extend the life of your car battery is cleaning the terminals from time to time. If you notice white or blue deposits forming around your battery's terminals, be sure to clean them off. Otherwise, the contact will be weak and the alternator won't be able to charge the battery effectively. To clean the terminals, first disconnect the battery completely. Start with the negative terminal, then the positive, and use a metal brush or other dry cleaning tools to remove the deposits. Then reconnect the wires, attaching the positive terminal first, followed by the negative. Modern batteries are less sensitive to temperature fluctuations compared to older types. However, if you leave an AGM battery outside for 3 or 4 days in very low temperatures, you will likely find that you can't even start the engine. Such a battery will need to be charged first before you can try to use it again. It's crucial not to let the battery reach a state of deep discharge. This damages the plates and contaminates the electrolyte. Over time, such a battery will simply stop getting a charge and can be disposed of without any hesitations. Unfortunately, it's difficult to test new batteries with a simple voltmeter. Even in a nearly discharged state, they can show a reading of 12.5 volts. Therefore, it's better to use a charging device for testing. Connect it and plug it into the socket. Select the appropriate mode on the device and ensure that the indicator shows a full charge. Be careful when installing any additional equipment in your car. If you are installing an aftermarket audio system or additional electrical devices in your car, ensure they are connected, not directly to the battery, but to the alternator. This way, when the engine is off, these devices will automatically turn off. Otherwise, your battery will regularly lose charge and will likely die much sooner. I find it amusing when websites advise car owners to avoid short trips or even take their car batteries inside their homes during cold weather. It seems they may be seriously suggesting making a few extra laps around town before heading to work or driving kids to school, possibly even detouring through another state, all in the name of battery preservation. These suggestions are certainly a bit outlandish. Always approach such online advice with a healthy dose of skepticism and consider following my channel for more practical and grounded tips on car maintenance.